What's up, guys, and welcome back to Fasterproms and hanging out with us. We haven't been posting very much. We've had so many different things going on. I wanted to be totally and completely transparent with you guys. I'm the type of person that does entirely too much, too long, too hard until there's absolutely nothing left. Unfortunately, I've been doing that a little bit too much, and my family has been kind of getting the short end of the stick, and I've really been kind of convicted in the fact that I haven't been there as much. So guys, family's got to be first, and quite honestly, I was not putting them there. So I needed to kind of dial back some of the YouTube, take it a little bit easy on some work. I love my family, and they need me more than anybody else. Maybe somebody's going through the exact same thing that I'm doing right now. Kind of got a bit of a change of perspective on some things, so a little bit of an epiphany, but just kind of wanted to update you on a couple different things. We are honestly, we're running two different businesses here. We got the YouTube part and we've got our regular shop stuff, and we've been trying to dial that down. And just on our YouTube stuff and all of that, I just counted right here, we have 10 projects. And I got a little frustrated for a little while there because we're held up on one thing after another, and so many different reasons, but we keep moving and adapting, going to different things. I've got all sorts of interesting customer projects that I find at least very interesting, and hopefully you guys find them really interesting as well. Coming up here, I've got so many different projects. Some of these projects are things that are future, and I cannot wait to share these with you. Some of these ideas I've been sitting on for over 15 years, and some of them are from my hero, and I cannot wait to do them. There's gonna be some off-the-wall stuff. I just cannot wait to share it with you. It's gonna be awesome. Guys, thank you so much for the support, and we wouldn't be where we're at without you guys, so thank you so very much. Now, let's get on to the video. We got some pretty neat stuff here I wanted to show you. This is a unicorn. Now this is a Z06 that happens to have a Z07 option. So that's got some carbon brakes, and this is a 2011. Now this color, along with the Z07 combination, there's something only like 8 of these in the world, and this is one of them. Gigantic brakes. So this is really one of the best naturally aspirated cars ever done. This is kind of like Porsche's GT3 RS. Really an amazing setup. However, this one we were doing heads and cam on. Now there's a couple really interesting things about this build that I wanted to share with you guys. Now this has the factory clutch. This car has 3,600 miles. It is virtually flawless. Now it's not like we have any problems with the clutch, but what we do have is we have a way to ventilate it. On the front side of the GM bell housing right here, they have a couple of covers. And this one right here goes right in like so, and we've removed that one. The other side around the starter, Laz pulled that off as well, and we should be able to help that thing breathe a bit better. Now I'm not really concerned if there's any sort of small rocks or debris or anything like that. Nothing's going to really hurt that. But the fact that we're able to get air through that instead of just having a deadhead system really does help. Now over a couple of years, they've opened these up and made them larger and larger. Now this has some of the largest, and actually the C7 has a totally different style exhaust with bell housing. Now that makes a tremendous difference with how well that clutch can perform. Expel that hot air as well as the debris. Now, I wrote a thread a long time ago for the Corvette forum on some experiences that we had. Now, I had bought a 2007 Z06 and it already had 68,000 miles on it, which was a lot for its time, and I was assuming I had to put a clutch in the car. But we did these steps right here, of which I'm going to show you right now. I sold the car with 90,000 miles and it still had the factory clutch, and we were able to make it work. There is a lot of things going on with this dynamically. So air is moving around in all sorts of different fashions within here. More on that in some future episodes. Fellas, while we're building this C6 Z06, an integral part of this whole setup is the intake manifold. Right here we have a stock unported intake manifold. Now, this is a 3-piece friction welded manifold, and it basically has a shift one way or another. It could be up or down or fore and aft. Now, say for example, I'm going to feel each one of these corners here, and whatever catches my finger is also going to catch air. So it's not so bad on this floor right here, but this floor is definitely worse. Now if I feel this corner and catch that right there, this one isn't as bad. But the main point can be if we can make each cylinder flow a little bit better, if we can gain 2 horsepower per cylinder, and we have 7,000 RPM to work with on this, that's 16 wheel horsepower. And that's actually exactly what we average when we port one of these intake manifolds. So this one right here is a ported one, but we can see right there, nothing's catching my finger. If we thin this area right here, we're gonna flow a lot more air. Also, we can see the witness mark of the cylinder head. So we can actually look right there and see how big that cylinder head is. And it's actually okay for this to be a slight bit larger than the cylinder head rather than too small. So we go about 6 inches up the runner, about as far as we can reach, and we have a variety of different tools. For this job, I would typically suggest something like this. And this is something that you can purchase and do at your home. So a lot of times we use a die grinder, something like that, with a flute like this, and we should be able to get the job done pretty well. That's what the factory intake manifold looks like at the throttle body right there. And when we open that guy up, we have a little bit of a larger reservoir for air. Anything that we can take out material right there and we can allow more airflow in there, that is a larger plenum. Another part of this is the ported throttle body. So this one is not ported, this is stock right now at the moment, but when the throttle goes like so, that is limiting the airflow. So there's certainly an area to touch and not to touch, but when we remove this lip, it makes the vehicle feel like it has a ton more bottom end and mid-range throttle response. It makes a tremendous difference on how the car feels on bottom end and mid-range torque. So even though porting the throttle body technically gains 0 horsepower, and we've tested that many times over, the response and the bottom end feels as if we just picked up about 30 pound-feet of torque down on the bottom end. Excellent, fun modification, especially when coupled with the intake manifold that does pick up power. Now, this is a little bit of a lower budget build than what we've done. Say for example, we did a red Z06, and that was a much higher budget, and we made a bunch more power. But in the end, if we make about 575 wheel horsepower, this is still a win for the amount of money that we're spending. Now this throttle body right here has been ported, and as we can see, that there is no sort of lip that is hindering the airflow at lower throttle positions. This thing is going to be very throttle responsive. And for you guys out there with trucks that really want that bottom end torque, you guys got a little bit screwed on this one. This is a GM truck, and as you can see, that has the largest of all the lips down there. Now again, if you try and tackle this yourself, there is a method to and not to do, but the area at rest, on, up, that can be manipulated and taken out, and that will pick up a tremendous amount of bottom end mid-range throttle response. Finishing this thing up, so Matt calls this the cream puff, unicorn, whatever, you know.
I remember him saying unicorn.
But man, those ported heads look really, really good on there. George did a great job on that. You're putting the finishing touches on this thing. We should be able to have this up and running in a few hours, really.
Yeah, drop the power steering back in, the water pump, and the exhaust, and the top end stuff.
Oh shoot, you gotta do some header modding.
Yeah.
That's gonna be, oh.
The headers don't clear the oil cooler on the late model C6 is that great.
Yeah, we got this oil cooler down here, so we're gonna have to really do some massaging on that header that we did on another car. We'll show you about that here now. Interesting little tech tip. And some of you are going to look at this and probably cringe. We've watched an episode of Engine Masters, and we watched these guys do this and almost crushing a header down into something very, very small without losing any sort of power. And actually, if it's not losing power, it's not hurting flow.
So this is our later model oil cooler. You know, runs your engine coolant through there. In this particular situation, me and old rambunctious Ryan here had to get this header.
It's a new one.
This is what you had to do now. This was a 1 7/8 inch header, and we've probably got it down to, I don't know, maybe 1 3/8.
Hey, it's still the same on the inside, right?
Yeah, I guess so. Now, when you're squeezing that down, you come to more like an oval, or in this case, it's kind of a D shape. But we've done this, and we've had to do this on Uncle Sam, and we've seen no problem. We haven't done our A to B, but the fact that Engine Masters had done it and made it so much worse on some pretty decently powered stuff, we're not scared.
Didn't skip a beat.
So if you guys, you know, you can order, so say for example, what we're using here is a set of Speed Engineering headers. For us, they didn't offer a Caprice header. They offered a 5th gen Camaro header. We took that, modified it a little bit, and it works fantastic. I mean, dude, we made 1,000 horsepower.
Banged up.
It works. It works.
Same thing too on our oil cooler. We had to make
So
a
let's
flat spot.
throw that thing in there and let's see how you did. Throw that in there and let's see how you did. pry right above your head there.
She's gonna sit something like this.
The ZR1 header is modified, whereas the other one is not, because of that very oil cooler. So that's what we've had to do. If you guys have the slightest little inkling that this header won't fit because of, you know, some sort of clearance, I would say go and be fearless. Go ahead and just dive right in and you can make it work.
Factory aluminum radiator.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I forgot. This is like the it's basically like a Griffin radiator factory. Yeah, it's so nice. So the Z07 package, again, this car, it's got crazy big carbon fiber brake, aluminum radiator. It's got the different oil cooler right there that we just pointed out. It's really an awesome car. I mean, honestly, it's everything ZR1. It lacks the engine, but the best NA substitute, basically. Super awesome, clean, virgin car, man. Love this thing. So I think we'll be happy if this thing makes somewhere in the neighborhood of like 575 when we're all said and done.
Go more than that.
It might. I mean, we definitely did this. And what's so crazy about this whole build is that despite how much of a unicorn and how awesome it really is, this is honestly probably the cheapest we've ever done a heads cam setup. Can't wait to see what this thing does on the dyno. But she's looking great, just sitting here looking pretty. All right, which leads us to the next car that we're working on today. Something that we have not had on the channel in a very long time. This is basically, this would be something that Laz, you can take out and go drifting in. And look, there's no weight limit.
I'm really excited.
Dude, you'll love it. This is a 3-liter M54 BMW engine, naturally aspirated. This thing made 215 wheel. I know, it's not a lot of power. It's just very, very low for our channel and all that, and it's not particularly something that we would normally do. However, the interesting part is the tech on how to fix an inherent flaw with this engine. So in the meantime, we're drilling and retapping this block in order to make this thing work. We had considered kicking around, throwing an LS in this, and it's just not in the budget right now. And the thing is, look, at this point we have Uncle Sam, which is the really higher end, can do anything that we need it to do, and it also doubles as a drift car. And then we have the 350Z, which pretty much makes the same power as this, but that car is definitely going to get a swap. I do not like that engine at all. This engine right here, we need to be able to have something that is a bit lower powered. So you can't just stick somebody like my kids or somebody that's new to drifting in something that makes 1,000 wheel horsepower or 550 for that matter.
Do you want low, medium, high?
Exactly. Low, and we have the medium, the 350Z, and dude, that 500 wheel horsepower one that we did for LOJ was right on. That was so sick.
That's an NA LS build.
Yeah, and I mean,
simple.
We could probably do a smaller engine with an LSA blower. And in fact, we had a piston go through this one right here, and I think that one might end up finding a home on some sort of future project like that.
We can save that. Salvageable.
I'm excited about that. I'd love to see a 4.8 or a 5.3 with an LSA sticking out the hood of a 350Z. But in the moment, let's get back to this.
Time certs in a BMW.
So guys, inherent problem with this is that when they overheat, they typically will either pull out the threads, and here we are.
But we don't have BMW tools.
Yeah.
We've got an alignment plate for an LS motor.
Yep.
So we're using this just like normal with the alignment dials in it. It's just coming up with a fancy way to clamp it down on all the bolt holes. Center that aligns our drill bit. Do the first pass on the drill, second pass to recess it for the head of the time cert. Yeah,
let's take a look at that thing. So this thing is not perfectly, flush. So we need to be able to get this to go countersunk.
Time cert's kind of neat. So the bottom of it, the threads aren't finished on the inside.
Okay.
And when you run the bolt or the installation tool into it, it actually flares out and digs into the block. If you ever had to replace a time cert,
oof, yeah.
Big cert has a metal pin that gets pushed out.
Yeah, and we've had to do this a couple times on some LS blocks here and there.
Aftermarket cylinder heads.
Yeah.
This is our main thing that we had to do it on.
Yeah. I mean, we've done it on maybe a couple blocks, but cylinder heads that have pulled out the rocker arms, definitely not a pretty situation. In fact, I remember I was on the way to the dyno one time with a customer, and he's riding with, and a rocker arm pulls through the head, and it was a very nice aftermarket set of heads. Nothing that we had done, it's just happened. So unfortunately, we had to fix it, and that was an interesting fix on how it all worked. And so guys, remember that this is the engine right here that has the golf ball set of heads that George and I had done our porting competition on. That was a hell of a lot of fun. We've cut a little bit off this cylinder head, so hopefully it makes a decent amount of power. So we're changing the intake manifold, changing the fuel, raising the compression a little bit, changing the cams.
Injectors?
Yep, we got ZR1 injectors going in there. I already got a base calibration for that. It's been a long time, man. I think this car's been down for somewhere about maybe 8 months. Guys, this is Vlad Belsky. He does some BMW tuning. He really knows this platform incredibly well. Like, you nerd out the way I nerd out about LS1s. Vlad, tell us about your car real quick here.
Yeah, I have it's a 2003 BMW Z4. It has one of these exact engines, unopened, and I have a $300 turbocharger on it, and it makes about 336 wheel horsepower. Yeah, it's on 8 3/4 PSI.
Basically, Vlad is like the sloppy mechanics version of the BMW stuff. He's making stuff happen for super cheap, making good power for low buck. This has been so weird. If you guys are not used to this at all, this is kind of, I mean, people say this is like a German 2J, you know, but we got the variable cam timing. We can advance and retard the cams with what they call a Vanos, and it's pretty wild. I mean, these are my eBay headers. We got our ported head. So this is a really experimental thing. We haven't really done this on any other head. We can't wait to see what it's gonna do. We've changed the intake manifold right here. It's been about a year that we had done our 4th of July video with Cletus and I doing the Water Cup Challenge, and I had so much fun. If you guys haven't seen that video, check that out. It was absolutely some of the most fun that I've had.
Sits properly. About there, yeah.
Sits properly. All right, so guys, these are two BMW nerds completely, and they're going to be teaming up together and working on his Z-Kart stuff. And obviously, so Vlad, he does tune some BMWs, and he's pretty good at it. He's got some neat stuff though, so if you guys are interested in that, you can check out Vlad Belsky. You got a YouTube?
Yeah, Belsky AutoWorks.
Belsky AutoWorks, cool. All right, so we have increased the compression ratio on this. We ported the head. We've got a different set of cams. These cams will vary in timing, just like, you know, we can go advance them and retard them. All this stuff put together, we got a few $100 in it. Just trying to make this little hot rod optimized. Trying to offer something that would be pretty competitive to say like a, I don't know, an M3 or something like that. But make it a little drift ripper that's gonna be so much fun that my kids can enjoy, and I can take some time with them and really be able to beat this thing up. And this guy's getting into drifting.
Yeah.
After watching Vaughn and all that stuff, you're like, I'm in.
Dude, I was there. I was so fired up, man. I was just all in, 100%.
I'm gonna blame it on the alcohol.
So I had so much fun watching that drifting, and it was just seeing people do it properly. It was just unbelievable.
What are you saying?
I've never seen anything like that.
What are you saying? Properly.
Well, I mean, like, you know, I don't know. No, but that was cool. But yeah, we're gonna figure it out.
Cutworm Specialties helped me put these on. We've done some episodes of that about maybe a year and a half ago. These are his control arms. They're absolutely awesome. Really stick it out about 3 inches. Got his camber plate and all that. It worked. You got some BC coilovers. Really worked incredibly well for this little pipsqueak. Now, if we look at this, and it's kind of like a 2JZ, if you guys are familiar with it, you've seen the aftermarket manifolds where they have that big plenum that comes in and then swoops down like that. To be honest, I really feel that this engine is suffering from a lack of plenum volume. It just does not look like it's going to do it at the higher RPMs. So,
before and after?
well, that's the intake manifold that we have. It's a vastly different manifold, and this one basically has valves that will close to open the shorter runner or the longer runner, and basically this is what we just decided to go with because we should be able to make a little bit better power all around. But this is supposed to be somewhere in the neighborhood of, say, 12 to 18 wheel horsepower with that, and we did port it. So we're hoping that freshening everything up, this thing should be really well optimized. But in the future, it might be something that we try if we're staying naturally aspirated, open up the plenum volume. And to really nerd out with you guys, basically think of the plenum volume as a air reservoir. The larger the air reservoir, the less likely you are to deplete that at higher RPMs. We might tackle that, but that's on the back burner right now, along with our 10 other projects. All right, that kind of looks a little crazy right there, but quite honestly, had we had these headers be a little bit longer, they probably would make a little bit more torque, and that would be great. We are definitely trying to make a little bit more top end power, but that's what the intake manifold's for, and that's also what porting the cylinder heads is for. So again, it might not be an LS, but at the same time, it's like, I just nerd out on the detail stuff and trying to optimize each and every little thing. Hell, I don't care if it's a 1-cylinder Honda 250. It's a hell of a lot of fun, dude.
These engines, you can pick them up cheap too. Every junkyard's full of them. You can pick them up for like $300 to $600.
Yeah, yeah.
They can make good power with some boost.
We may boost this thing in the future, but for right now, we're gonna run it NA and see what we can do.
Are these leaky, notorious leaky areas back there?
Yeah, where these half moon kind of shapes are.
He's the real BMW nerd.
Yeah.
I'm a poser. I don't know what I'm doing.
So guys, this is the motor that we pulled out, and that one is the one that my son, Liam the Little Savage, blew the head gasket on. We haven't torn it apart to see the carnage. We definitely had multiple different cooling issues, and that is an inherent problem with these. So trying to fix all the wrongs on this other motor that I got from a friend for free.
Free motor friends are good to have.
It's good, that's good.
We're good.
Yeah, so we also have a little bit of a lighter weight components here. We're hoping that this contributes to the power. Again, you guys have probably heard me talk about unsprung weight, and that is a major factor. If you can lighten a flywheel, it will definitely rev faster and it will be more power. It's like having lighter shoes.
You can run faster, jump higher.
Is that right, Jordan?
Yeah.
Guys, we've done a lot of unsprung weight testing, and on a Z06, very much like this, we attributed about 1 pound to 1 horsepower. So we took off a few pounds off of the brakes, and the brakes only on a back-to-back dyno test, and we picked up the proportionate amount of power for the amount of pounds that we took off. Hopefully that translates on something like this onto something like this. Well guys, that's all we got for you today as we finish up our Cream Puff Unicorn. This thing is like a 10-year-old brand new virgin car, just absolutely crazy beautiful, as well as the conclusion of our BMW. So we're gonna try and get these things on the dyno if we can about the same time, but I may or may not. We have a very special July 4th episode for you. I can't wait for you guys to see that. It's going to be awesome. But guys, thank you so much for watching. God bless you. We'll see you next episode. Come on, babe. Jericho, come on. It's your time to shine. Go get it. Norman, come here, you beautiful beast. All right, Jericho, drop. Jericho, sit. Peep, sit.